Hello, Amanda. How are you?
Very good, thank you. And yourself?
Doing good, thank you. Really appreciate you carving out the time to chat with me. We met a few months ago, right, at a dinner event, and we got to sit close to each other, and I got to learn about you quite a bit, and thought to myself, you know what, I'd love to invite Amanda to our podcast and have a chance to share your stories and your journey. And thankfully, you said yes. So here we are. So thank you.
No, thank you for the opportunity. We're really looking forward to this.
Yes. So to start, if you can do a quick intro, please, so our audience get to know you.
Of course, I'm Amanda Downey. I am the talent director with OSL Retail Services. I have been with OSL for 9 years, going on 10 years now. It's been a wonderful journey. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation to share some of my experiences and obviously just to see what we can do to really empower everyone to really try and be the best that they can be.
How did you start your career in like HR, people management, and so on? What was your pathway to the career that you have now?
So, like many people, as I've heard, I fell into talent. I had gone to school through university for history and art history, which I love. It's still a passion project of mine. But once I had finished with that, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I took a temp role as a recruiter with an organization and really just tried to see what it was about. And I really kind of enjoyed it and loved it. And just from there, just kind of went on to kind of growing within a turn recruiting to take on new roles, new programs, and learn. And that's kind of how it came about. It was all by happenstance, of just kind of looking to see what my next journey was going to be, and the way it opened, and I haven't looked back.
It is quite common that way, that many people
Yes.
start somewhere without having clear path defined where they want to go. I think we will continue to be in that position, right? As life happens, as you learn things and experience things. Yeah, your path.
Especially as now, like they're saying that people don't stay to one job or one company for their entire career as they did like 20, 50 years ago. You're going to have multiple career journeys, which is a great thing because none of them are necessarily the end of your story. It's just the end of a chapter. And as you grow and learn from each of them, there's so many things that you're going to pick up and learn from and be able to contribute to that next chapter in your career.
Oh my goodness, I love the way that you put it. Not end of your story, but end of just a chapter. If our life is a long book or a Netflix series, right?
Yes. Yes.
Well,
Multi-series Netflix series. Yes, it's not just going for one series. It's many.
many. Yes, there you go. What about the career that you have built so far that motivates you and inspires you? Like every morning, right? You wake up and you start your day. What springs you out of bed currently?
So for me, it's really two things. The kind of problem solving aspect of kind of working in recruiting and talent is we obviously have KPIs, we have projects that we need to achieve, and trying to figure that out, solve that, and make sure that everyone is working well to those goals and that we're seeing the results from our own side in terms of our company, the clients that we're working with, our hiring manager partners, that everyone's kind of getting that best result. The other thing for me is really my team. So I really try and make sure that I am empowering them, that I am supporting them, that I'm giving them the guidance that they need so that they can themselves kind of see that growth, see that trajectory. And in some cases, it's a little thing of just when they've really worked well on a project and there's a beautiful summary or they've really done a great presentation on something and just seeing how they've really been able to grow and succeed in this to when we get great feedback from a client or an internal partner that like, hey, this person really did a phenomenal job. It's so wonderful to see that. And I don't think all down to myself, but it's like just seeing that like, hey, maybe the support that I've been able to give them has really been able to help them to achieve that. They did it on their own steam, but if I can have taken one little stone out of their path, I think that was a great thing that I was able to do.
How many people do you have in your team currently?
So I specifically have right now four direct reports with managers, and I have a overall team of around 80 individuals. We're a very large talent team, and so that is recruiting for across North America for many different roles. So we're a very busy team.
80, you said it.
80, yeah, 80, that's 80 people.
That is big team.
Yes.
How many employees total?
For OSL, we have around 10,000 and growing employees across North America. We have many clients that we support with, from Walmart to Samsung to Bell in Canada. And it's been a phenomenal journey with OSL, specifically as when I joined back in 2016, we were only really with Walmart Canada. We had started a partnership with Bell, and just through that time, we grew from having like around 500 employees to 5,000, and now we're going to 10. And it's just really been down to everyone getting on board to really want this to succeed. There's been obviously struggles along the way. COVID specifically one, which I know is like that thing for talent of like a bad memory. But obviously that was some difficult times in terms of talent, but we've really been able to turn the page and really try and improve how we're doing things. So one of the main things for this year is really looking at how we can be better. We want to make sure that we're having great time to hire, great quality of hire, really pushing for efficiencies. And so that's really been the mantra for this year and going into next, of saying like, hey, we've had great success in the past, but that past does not define us. It's the foundation of where we are, but we need to be really focused on where we want to be in the next 5 years and what can we do to really achieve that, and hopefully sooner rather than later.
What got us here will not get us there,
No,
right? Yeah.
exactly.
From 500 employees to 10,000 employees. That is remarkable growth within 10-year span. I know there are many aspects, many things that were in play to enable that growth, but from where you sit, if you have to pick three things that like levers that enabled that growth, what would they be?
So I think one is a little bit of what makes OSL, which is like a can-do mentality of we are all invested in this, whether it is our CEO or an admin that's on a project, we're all invested in making sure that this thing is going to succeed. So whether it's a matter of like, this is, let's say, in your job description, but it's something that you can do to support and do, you're going to do it because it overall means that everyone's going to succeed. We really try and push for excellence, which is the other thing. So that's excellence really in how we are trying to support our programs, work with our customers, support our employees, that we're driving for that excellence. There's always going to be bumps and issues along the way, but we want to make sure that we're always kind of pushing for that. And the last bit is really just really trying to always be innovative. Like we don't want to be the company that is following the trends. We want to be leading the trends. And so it's looking to see, okay, to that point of what got us here is not going to be able to achieve what we want to do in the future. We have to be thinking, okay, if we're going to get to that next milestone, that next achievement, what are the things that we need to be doing now and 6 months down the line, a year down the line, so that we already have it in place, that we're not kind of falling on the back step.
With the team that size, 10,000 people, what types of communication channels are open so that way communication not just within your team or with your direct manager and direct report comes, but org-wide? What types of channels are currently open?
Yeah, so that's a very good point. So that's one thing that we've really tried to improve on over the past couple of years, because we were getting specifically that feedback of people didn't know what was going on. Individuals that may be in store, in field, as we're in retail, didn't know the whole story of kind of what was happening with OSL. So one thing that we did was we opened up employee feedback surveys, where at least twice a year we send these out to see how people are feeling. We report back on those, both from a organizational level, but also different divisions and managers get their results so that they can try and impact change. We do that from like a leader perspective. I would look at those results and see what I specifically think my team could be doing differently to make change from that. But we also put it out to the team of like, hey, these are our results based on what you said. What change do you want? Like you can have a say in the way that things will occur. The other thing that we've really tried to do is push out that communication as to what's going on. So we do town halls that are available to everyone, both those that are in support centers as well as in remote and field, so that they do get a sense of like what programs might be coming down the pipeline, how are we doing from an organizational success, departmental updates, all of that, and really trying to make sure that there's alignment across the whole organization. That I'm going to pick on a couple departments like HR and talent is not doing one thing and IT is not aware of what's going on. So we're sharing across the organization that what can be achieved to make sure that we're really having that great communication across the board.
How did you cope? Speaking of COVID that we just briefly talked about, right? How did you cope with COVID? And it seems like COVID was in the right middle of your 500 employees to 10,000 employees, that time span, right? Yeah. How did you do it?
With a lot of good luck, I think to a certain degree, like it was quite ironic where we actually went through a period of growth just as COVID was about to begin. We had gotten a new partner client that was kind of expanding the function with us, and COVID hit right at that moment, which was a wonderful transition on many accounts. And it's just been a matter of through that period, just really trying to make sure that we are engaging with our teams, that like even though there was that remote aspect, that you still had those touch points, you still had that engagement, and that you were still communicating, that you were clear in your objectives as well. And that's one thing that we've really tried to make sure, that not only from a human aspect in terms of the talent team, but also for our employees that are in field and in store, that they know what they are being held to. Because that's one thing, like the philosophy of like no one comes to work to do a bad job. But in order to do a great job, you need to be aware of what you're being held to. So trying to put those expectations in as to those KPIs, those metrics that everyone needs to be working towards, so that you do see like how you're measuring up, how you can improve. Like if you're doing a great job in this, but you're not doing so well in this other area, giving that guidance as well as to like how you can achieve. And that's really what we've tried to work through from COVID onwards, of seeing like how can we not just meet expectations, but exceed expectations.
Mhm. There are, I mean, we all are very different.
Yes.
What motivates us, what we dream about, and it just list goes on. We're very different. In your role and in your department, I'm sure this is something that you constantly talk about and so on. Are there any particular trends that you observed so far? You have large number of employees. Sure, the different generations there, different cultural background there, and so on. Any trends that you have observed?
100%. So, what motivates someone that is, let's say, at the beginning of their career in terms of getting those opportunities to lead a project for the first time, or getting the opportunity to learn a new skill, etc., might be what's actually resonating to them, versus someone that's maybe a bit more advanced in their career, more having that autonomy of like, hey, like we know you understand what's needed. You have this. We're going to give you more of maybe, let's say, the flexibility that if you need to have like an afternoon to go deal with something for your daughter or your son or whomever, like having that kind of understanding that we're going to have your back, because we know that you are a tenured employee, and you know what needs to be achieved. It's also just in terms of things with recognition. Like we've tried to really make sure that across the board, they're recognizing people's achievements, whether it's just the fact of they've been able to help with a particular project, or just doing their day-to-day kind of KPIs, but recognizing that, shouting out those wins, doing it in a way that's not only focused on one method, but trying to make sure that you're doing dedicated. So it's reaching out to that specific person to recognize them for that specific action, doing it in a group setting where it's specific to that direct team, doing it in a larger setting across the whole organization through messages that go out in kind of town halls or other mediums, so that everyone's getting the chance to be recognized, and that it's not just doing it through one message, because to the point, like everyone wants to have that recognition differently. Some people might not like having it broadcast to everyone. They're a little shyer, they want it more personal. So trying to make sure that you're gearing it towards that individual and what they would prefer.
Your employee base geographically diverse, eh?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have the back to office policy, or do you still allow very much flexible work arrangements?
So we do have for our head office, our support center team, the 4 days in office. We do offer some flexibility, obviously, with that. Like life events occur if you have a child that's sick or there's something that comes up. Of course, there's flexibility. But with OSL, we really based on the policy of we are better together. We want the camaraderie. We want the opportunity to really have people engaging and just that quick connection point. You don't have to send an email or send a message to figure out a problem. Just walk over to the person's desk and figure it out. But we do kind of want people in, but we do also offer that flexibility.
That water cooler moment, right? That you just get to bump into each other and
Yes.
brainstorm together and so on. How do you currently create that moment across the employee base that are not in the geographical like same location?
Yeah. So one thing is where we can do it through remote town halls where we have everyone kind of joining and that can converse. It's also really trying to highlight those moments where we are bringing people together. So for instance, this past summer for the talent and HR team, we brought in our managers from across North America for a 2 days summit where it was specifically OSL led. So we had the content, we had them doing the engagement and learning exercises. And that was exactly for that point of my manager who handles the Western region, like he was able to come to Toronto and really engage and see those people that he'd never necessarily seen before because he's works remote. And it's exactly to that point of making sure that you are creating those sandboxes where they can have that in-person talk, but also making sure that you are giving them those opportunities through meetings, through town halls, through messaging chats where they can still reach out to someone and know that like, hey, I know we're going to have this conversation via Teams, but I'm still here. I'm open door policy so that they can always have those conversations, even if it is remote.
What excites you when you think about next few years out?
That is a very good question. I am very excited, and I know AI is like a buzzword, but also a little bit of a difficult word for some. I am very excited to see what does occur with AI because, from what I'm seeing, it does within the talent space have the capability to really help our teams. Where those things with automation and streamlining processes, so that we're not always stuck in the day to day minutia of needing to write those emails that are standard templates or needing to reschedule interviews for a hiring manager or a candidate. That if technology can help us with those aspects, imagine how much more we can push in terms of actually having meaningful engagements with candidates, really finding out what it is that they're looking for, finding out what role is going to be best for them, coaching them through that so that they're going to exceed and succeed in what they're looking to do in their careers, but also just our own engagement, just trying to figure out, okay, hey, I have this problem with this particular market or this particular role. Having AI to help me with the admin is going to allow me to really start to think about like, what can I do differently? So I'm not just in the weeds and trying to figure things out. I can actually impact the solutions that I want.
Do you currently use AI within your function?
We do. So within our ATS ISIMs, as well as with Indeed, which I know has come up with a few AI solutions, we're using all of those to help with kind of crafting messages, with some of the automations in terms of sending out messages to candidates. All of that we've really been engaged with and seeing again what's going to come next in terms of how we can really solve for the problems of recruiting and talent.
Have you ever, I mean, you had successful career, Amanda. Nobody's story is all about unicorns and rainbows. We all go through challenges and bumps along the way. If you were to share one that you remember and I guess really good learnings from it, now like reflecting back, right? Yeah, it was hard, but any one particular experience that you would like to share?
Again, to your point, like not everyone's life is unicorns and rainbows. There's always bumps along the way. But I think one specific for me is we, because again, we deal in retail and things are very fast paced. That's always with retail. We get new programs with not necessarily the most lead time that we would like. And it's a matter of having to work through in those moments as to coaching our client and our business development team as to what to expect in terms of the art of the possible. Like, hey, we can theoretically we can achieve everything, but it's about in this moment with what you have set out as my timeline and in terms of my budget, all these constraints. This is what's realistic, and making sure that they're on that page to be able to accept what the realistic view is. But that at the same time, trying to coach my team to exceed those results and working with them through the stress and the concern. And as we always see with recruitment drop off and concerns with funnel or other things, and trying to figure out those problems and motivating them through all of that to achieve and exceed kind of what those expectations were, is always quite difficult, because it's not necessarily being two-faced, but it's about trying to play to both sides in terms of making sure that you're being an advocate for your team and trying to defend them as to what they can achieve. But at the same time, really believing in your team and thinking, okay, I know you guys can achieve this, and I'm going to empower you as much as I can to achieve it. But I will have your back if it is of the case of we don't, and we can only achieve what I set out as the more realistic expectation.
Any failures that you experienced where in the moment it was very hard, but maybe two things. Sometimes in the moment, oh my goodness, I cannot believe this happened. Like you are panicking and it seems so bad. Reflecting back, it wasn't that bad, but it felt really bad at the moment. Sometimes when we reflect back, yeah, it really was bad. But now I'm on the other side, and I think about a few different things that I could have done differently, or I will do differently in the future. Any experience like that?
Of course, we've had, unfortunately, programs where we put all of our effort into launching with a particular client, really pulled out all the stops in terms of what we can do, and it hasn't gone well. It's either a matter of we were not able to achieve the headcount in terms of what we need to be, or let's say the sales weren't there, and it wasn't necessarily anyone's fault or like my fault, but it's about just that again, like, oh, we were so excited for that, and like we thought we had that craft and it was going so well, and the client decides to pull the program or whatever it might be. And it's exactly to that point of just looking at the lessons learned of, could we have done anything differently? If it's a matter of like, no, we think we nailed everything in terms of execution, well, it's like, okay, well, if we did, let's just try and see, okay, how could we maybe ask for this differently? Is it more that we needed more lead time, or we need to be more clear with those expectations and those results to make sure that, hey, for the next time that another problem comes down, we can solve it and hopefully a little bit different.
We wear multiple hats, don't we? At work, yeah, we wear multiple hats, and at home, our personal life, we wear multiple hats too. How do you balance, juggle different roles and create that harmony of work and life?
We definitely do juggle many hats, from just within the organization, obviously looking after different programs and being a jack of many trades, as it were. From my perspective, I try and with the work-life balance, just kind of know that I am putting 110% of my skills, my abilities during that work hours that I'm kind of setting out. And then when it comes to time of like, I need to shut off, I personally find it very soothing to really just try and focus on some of the kind of brainy hobbies, as I know are very trendy right now, in terms of knitting or reading and gardening, to like have that time for mindfulness and to really shut off my brain. Of that's going to allow me to be so much better the next day, because I've given myself that time to rest and recharge and shut off my brain. The problem is always going to, unfortunately, be there. There will be a problem every day that needs to be solved, but I need to be better equipped to solve that problem if I give myself the chance to rest.
Amanda, thank you very much once again for the time and sharing your perspectives and your stories. Were there any other questions that you were hoping to cover, but I didn't get to ask you yet?
No, I think that's all of them. I think that was wonderful.
Thank you. I mean, we are both based in Toronto, so when there are more events that we're hosting or any other occasions, hopefully we get to see each other in person again. And
So cute.
grabbing coffee or hanging
That
out
would be lovely.
together. Yes. Thank you again. So until next time.
Until next time, yes.
talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Thank you.